Hello everyone and welcome back to Hannah's Happy Home. Today's video is going to be a food prep and restock video. So of course we're starting off at Costco to do a big restock of food. I will take you along with me as I shop through Costco, get all of my favorites, try a few new items, and then we'll head home and do a quick grocery haul before we start working on all of this food prep. So I just hope that this video can give you a lot of motivation, inspiration, and ideas for fridge, freezer, and pantry organization, and also for food prep and freezer meals, because I know it can be very overwhelming to come up with ideas every week for what you're going to cook, what food you're going to have on hand. So I just hope that this can inspire you. And I had to show you these egg bites at Costco for $11.99. There's only 8 egg bites in here, and I'm going to show you later on in the video how you can make your own egg bites at home. So stay tuned for that. There's just going to be a lot of recipes and ideas in today's video.
You might get bigger, you might get waggle shaggle.
Okay, so I'm back home. I have groceries from Costco and also Safeway. I'll do a really quick grocery haul here before we start with the food prep and the freezer meals. I grabbed a box of Kirkland organic applesauce pouches, a box of chicken stock, Chosen Foods avocado oil spray, honey, mayo, maple syrup, peanut butter, get my coconut oil at Costco, and then I also got these crackers to try. I like to have crackers on hand to dip in tuna salad, chicken salad, a bag of potatoes because I'll be making some shepherd's pies, and then I did get some chips, the late July multigrain and the sea salt lime, strawberries and cherries. These cherries look delicious. We have limes, oranges, apples, cucumbers, carrots. I've been enjoying these high protein bars, a bunch of bananas which are already starting to go brown. Then I got a pineapple. These organic dried mangoes are such a good price at Costco, only $18.99 for this bag. Kirkland Greek yogurt and cheese. We've got celery, spinach, butter. I got this dip to try, cottage cheese, some little peppers, a box of this yogurt, blueberries, green grapes, red grapes, a large thing of sausage because we'll be making breakfast casseroles, sour cream, and then in the frozen section I got dark sweet cherries, green beans, and strawberries. And I did also get a pack of chicken breasts. These flowers right here were from Costco. I'm taking these to my sister-in-law because she just had a baby. This is my first time trying Costco flowers. They always do have a beautiful selection. So at Safeway I got tortillas, green sauce. We'll be making some green chicken enchiladas to put in the freezer. I needed some more flour, bags of mixed vegetables for the shepherd's pies. We got some jasmine rice, aluminum foil, lemons, and then also some containers of crescent rolls for some of those breakfast casseroles that we'll be making. That is everything that I got, and now I'm going to start working at restocking the fridge and the freezer first, and then I will be prepping some food for the fridge. I want to make some chicken salad, maybe some granola bars, boil some eggs. I'll get the fruits and veggies prepped. I'll be cleaning the fridge as I go and just giving tips along the way as I restock and organize the fridge and the freezer, and then we'll get started on all the freezer meals. You'll have to bear with me today. I am feeling a little bit under the weather, so my voice isn't sounding so great. Going to try and get as much done as I can today. Before I start restocking and organizing the fridge, I am cleaning the fridge. Every time I do a restock, once a month or once every 7 weeks, I always like to deep clean the fridge, and so that can help you to be able to maintain your fridge, and you can just mix up a DIY cleaner. So I will mix together equal parts of white vinegar and warm water, or you could also do warm water with a few drops of dish soap. You could also keep a container of baking soda in the back of your fridge just to help to deodorize the fridge. For tough stains in your fridge, you can just make a paste with baking soda and water and put that over the area and let it sit for a couple of minutes. I also try to work from the top to the bottom, and sometimes as I'm cleaning, I'll be restocking at the same time. Just wanted to share a couple of fridge cleaning tips, so hopefully those were helpful. So we run a chicken farm here on our property. We get all of the eggs that either have a little crack or they're too big to sell, too small to sell. And so I had a lot of eggs to use up today. I decided to make boiled eggs and also egg salad, and then later on we'll be making egg bites. While those are cooking, I'm going to wash my cherries, and I share this in every food prep video, but you can use baking soda to wash your fruits and veggies. You'll see here in a minute just how dirty the water was from the strawberries after I cleaned it with baking soda. It's crazy. I decided to go ahead and wash most of this fruit. Sometimes I won't wash the fruit if I know we aren't going to use it in a while, but I knew that we were going to eat most of this fruit this week. We'll be using the blueberries for a few different recipes. The boys love to snack on these grapes, and they'll probably put half of them in the freezer because they love frozen grapes. The strawberries needed to be eaten right away because they were starting to go bad. We ate the cherries in just a couple of days. Around this time of the year, they always have some amazing tasting cherries at Costco. So I'm going to share a couple of tips for how to help your fruit to last longer in the fridge, and also your veggies as well. So when it comes to berries like cherries, strawberries, blueberries, anything like that, you want to store them in a glass mason jar, and I will link my plastic mason jar lids down below. And you will want to put a paper towel in the bottom of that glass jar to help to absorb any excess moisture, because keeping them dry and in an airtight container will help them to last longer in the fridge. Like you saw, I chopped up all of the strawberries. I set some aside for my iced tea that I'm making, and then the rest I just put on a plate on the counter, and the boys had eaten them in just a couple of hours. That was their snack for the afternoon. But I am making a strawberry lemon sweet tea, and I am sweetening this with maple syrup and honey. It was delicious. I just used some black tea bags on the stove. I did about 12 tea bags for a gallon jar of tea, and I will link this glass tea jug down below. I got it from Amazon. I love the size, the handle, and also the lid does have like a mesh filter, so if you want to put fruit and different things like that into your tea, you don't have to worry about it pouring out into your cup when you're pouring the tea. To help your celery last longer in the fridge, first you want to get it out of that plastic bag. It is going to spoil a lot faster if you keep it in that bag. So you can wash your celery and then put it into a glass mason jar and fill that jar about half full of water. Another idea I heard of is to wrap it in aluminum foil, which is kind of crazy, but I guess that it works, and also store it in the crisper drawer in the fridge. Stay tuned, we are going to be starting to make a lot of recipes here soon. I am making like 11 freezer meals. I'm also going to be starting to prep some muffins and egg bites, and just a ton of recipes and inspiration coming up here soon. So stay tuned for all of that. This is a very simple egg salad recipe: a little mustard, 2 spoonfuls of mayo, salt and pepper, mix it all together, and I will either put this on some pita bread with lettuce, I'll eat it with crackers or cucumbers. Just a great easy lunch to have in the fridge. I'm getting ready to mix up a double batch of some healthy banana muffins. That way I can put a batch in the freezer and then we'll have a batch to eat this week. First, before I do that, I do want to chop up these cucumbers. Well, I'm going to actually slice them, not chop them, but I want to have sliced cucumbers in the fridge that I can dip into my tuna salad, chicken salad, egg salad, anything like that, or also that dip that I got. I also have chicken cooking over here on the stove, as you can hear in the background. I'm going to turn that chicken into chicken salad. I might have some left over that I'll just chop up and put in the fridge. So let's slice up these cucumbers. I did take off a little bit of the skin, and they say to put a paper towel in the bottom of a glass container, and then be sure that you have a good airtight lid to put on top of here, because that's the key to helping them last longer, is to keep out excess moisture and to keep them airtight. Sorry, I said I was going to make some of those banana muffins and I still haven't gotten to it yet. As soon as we finish up this chicken salad, we will start on the muffins. Chicken salad is one of my favorites. I love to put celery and grapes in my chicken salads. Now that I've got a bowl full of shredded chicken, I'm going to chop up my celery, then I'll chop up my grapes, and then we'll add mayo, possibly a little mustard, and then salt and pepper. If you wanted to make a healthier version of chicken salad, you could use Greek yogurt instead of mayo, or you could do half and half, so half Greek yogurt, half mayo, just to cut down on those calories a little bit. So I decided to try half Greek yogurt and half mayo. I'm not going to do any mustard because of the grapes. Mustard and grapes just doesn't seem like a good combination. So I'll do like that much Greek yogurt, stir all of that together, and then add salt and pepper. Okay, so we cleaned up the kitchen a little bit and now I'm finally going to make these muffins. So I am doubling this recipe, so I'll be doing 6 bananas, and you're going to start off with your coconut oil, your maple syrup. So I just did 2/3 of a cup of coconut oil, and then I'm doing a cup of maple syrup. And then I'll be adding the 4 eggs, 6 smashed bananas, and then the milk. And then once that's combined, you'll add all of your dry ingredients. These are really delicious, and I will link every single recipe down below in the description box. I know in my last food prep video, I wasn't able to link or type up every recipe, but I'm going to make sure that I do that in this video. So I have just one for you.
One for me? Thank you.
Okay, so I mixed up a double batch of these muffins and I just ran out of my favorite muffin liners, which is these parchment paper muffin liners. I ordered these on Amazon, I'll put the link down below, but I'm just having to use these random muffin liners for the rest of the pan. So you'll fill the liner about half full, and then you can sprinkle a little bit of oats on top, maybe a little bit of granulated sugar on top if you want to, but I usually just do the oats. Okay, so those muffins are baking in the oven, and while those are baking, I'm going to start prepping some egg muffins. And these are spinach cottage cheese egg bites. They're delicious, quick and easy to whip up, and you can keep them in the fridge, put them in the freezer. The kids love these. They're great to heat up as a snack or for breakfast in the morning. And I like to mix up this recipe in the blender. That way the cottage cheese gets mixed up really well. And I will type up this recipe down below. Another tip for meal prep is to maybe order some meal kits to your doorstep at least once a month to give you a break from meal planning for a few meals. These are always fun to get delivered to our door. We had 3 Home Chef meals arrive this week, and thank you to Home Chef for sponsoring today's food prep video. Because I was having a busy week, I chose some easy meals. I got the oven-ready turkey meatloaf with mashed potatoes and peas, and then one of their express meals, and also a fast and fresh meal. I love that this takes the guesswork out of what you're going to make. All the ingredients are pre-portioned. You don't have to meal prep or grocery shop for these meals. You can totally customize your meals if you want to, upgrade or swap your proteins. They just always have a wide variety of delicious meals to pick from each week. The oven-ready meal came with oven-safe tins, so I had minimal dishes to clean up afterwards. And then the night before, we had one of their fast and fresh meals. It was barbecue peach pulled pork tacos. They were so good. The pork was already cooked, ready to go. I just had to mix in the sauces, heat it up in the microwave, heat the tortillas, and we were ready to eat. If you want a break from meal planning and prepping, try out Home Chef with my link below and use my code HHH50 for 50% off and free shipping on your first Home Chef box. Okay, so I paused here and I made some gallon-sized baggies of teriyaki chicken to put in the freezer. This is one of my husband's favorite recipes and I haven't made it in probably 2 years. I made this a lot when we were first married. As you can see, this cookbook is very used. I got this cookbook I think a couple months after we were married, and then this became his favorite recipe, so I would make it like once a week for him, and I haven't made it in a while, so I wanted to put some of this in the freezer. A couple days later I pulled one of these out and put it in the crock pot. I also cooked some chopped pineapple with this and we had rice. It was so delicious. So of course we have to shred some cheese. We always like to keep shredded cheese in the fridge, and I'm definitely going to need some for the freezer meals that I'm making tomorrow. Okay, so while the egg bites are in the oven, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the restocked and organized fridge. Here's a look at what we've got on this door, usually just all of the condiments and butter and cream cheese, things like that on top. I keep peanut butter, jelly, different things like that up here, and then our water cups are down here. In this bottom drawer right now, I just have all of the cheese and then the carrots. Then we have the veggies and the fruit. These eggs are from our chicken farm that we have here on our property, and then this is my meat container. So it's meat that I'm thawing out for recipes. I have beef and chicken in here for those freezer meals tomorrow. Here in the middle is where I will keep leftovers or food that I have prepped. We like to store our grapes in these drawers. It's just really convenient, and the boys will eat these every day for a snack. They'll also probably end up putting some of these in the freezer. I have the 2 containers of Greek yogurt, that container of spinach, and then up here I have the sausage for tomorrow, the celery sticks. Right here is yogurt and also protein bars. I've got the jars of cherries and also blueberries lined up right here, and then I've got that dip, the cottage cheese, sour cream is back there, jar of delicious homemade tea. I have my Mary Ruth's nighttime multivitamin back here. I like to mix up a drink at night with this. We're running a little low on milk, and then we have 2 jugs of juice back here. And then a quick overview of the freezer. I didn't do too much organizing and cleaning in here. It was just a quick reset. I still need to get some meat to put over here. This top drawer is full of fruit, and we've got our ice maker in here. So yeah, it feels good to have the freezer and the fridge restocked and organized, and to have all of that food prepped. The last thing I have to add to the fridge is those egg muffins, and then I'm going to go outside for the rest of the evening. It's a beautiful evening, going to go for a bike ride, water my garden, and then early tomorrow morning we'll get started on all the freezer meals. The first thing I wanted to get done on this morning was to quickly clean up the pantry, get it reorganized and restocked before I start prepping all of those freezer meals. Stay tuned, we are going to make 9 freezer meals here in just a couple of minutes. Good morning, everyone. It's the next morning, and today we are going to work on those freezer meals. But first, this morning I quickly cleaned up the kitchen, and I also did a quick cleaning and restock and organize of the pantry. And now I'm going to start on the freezer meals. So the lineup for today is 3 breakfast casseroles, 2 shepherd's pies, 1 pan of chicken enchiladas, 2 pans of hamburger helper, and then possibly 1 Mexican casserole and maybe some gallon baggies of cookies. I know last time I didn't quite get everything made that I wanted to, but when you're trying to do 9 freezer meals in one day, it can take a little while. So this first meal that I'm making is the chicken enchiladas. This has always been a favorite recipe, a great one to make for when you're hosting. So I'm starting off by cooking the chicken, and then I will shred the chicken, add the enchilada sauce, the sour cream, the cream cheese, stir all of that together, and then you'll spoon that mixture into your tortillas. Roll your tortillas up and line them up in your pan. Before you start lining your tortillas up in your pan though, make sure that you pour a little bit of that enchilada sauce in the bottom of the pan. Once you have all of your enchiladas lined up in your pan, then you're going to top them with the rest of the sauce and the shredded cheese. And when you're making these freezer meals, after you cover them with aluminum foil, it's always a good idea to write the date on there and what the recipe is, but then also you could quickly write out the baking instructions and what temperature to cook it at. That way, just in case you ever want to give somebody a last minute freezer meal, you can just quickly pull it out of your freezer. It already has the instructions on there for them. And if it's a new recipe, it may be nice for you as well to have the instructions on top of that freezer meal. Okay, so the next freezer meal I'm going to make is a hamburger helper. And the reason I'm making that is because I have all of these leftover macaroni noodles. I made way too many for Owen's birthday party, so we're going to turn this into 2 pans of hamburger helper. So I just went and found an easy recipe on Pinterest. This is ground beef. We've got heavy cream, beef broth, tomato sauce, pasta, cheddar cheese, flour, Italian seasoning. I'll probably do chicken broth instead of beef broth, and I will leave out the onion and garlic. I'm going to try and multitask here, and while that meat is cooking, I want to mix up these 3 egg casseroles. So first I'll spray the pans with this avocado oil. For 2 of these casseroles, I'll be doing crescent rolls. This is a really delicious egg casserole. I'll have the recipe down below. Super simple. It's just the crescent roll on the bottom of the pan, and then you'll just have your mixture of your eggs, sausage, and seasonings. If you don't have an entire day to set aside to make all these freezer meals, then you can just plan to do it over the course of an entire week. So say that you are making a breakfast casserole for Sunday morning breakfast. Just double the recipe and put 1 in the freezer, and then that week, every time you make supper, double the recipe and put 1 in the freezer, and by the end of the week you'll have 7 freezer meals. You could even do that as you're prepping your lunches, like cook double the chicken for your chicken wrap and put some of that cooked chicken in the fridge or the freezer. Just try to spread it throughout the week, even if you just did that for a whole month, like before you have a baby or before you're coming up on a really busy season of life. If you would just double your meal, maybe even 3 times a week for a month, you'd have a really good stock in your freezer. Okay, so I made 3 breakfast casseroles. 2 of them have the crescent rolls on the bottom, and then 1 is just an egg, sausage, and cheese casserole. I still do want to make those shepherd's pies, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have time today because we have to leave here soon. And I was also hoping to freeze some cookies as well. We'll see. I do need to get this kitchen cleaned up. It always, like I said, gets to be such a mess when I'm making these freezer meals and doing the meal prep. The dishes just stack up. I can reuse some of the pans, but then sometimes I'm having to get new pans and cutting board. There's just always a lot of dishes, but the boys have been helping me. They were emptying the dishwasher. Jalen washed some dishes for me, so I have had some help trying to keep things clean. Okay, so I finished those 2 shepherd's pies, and then I laid out everything for a thumbnail. We have got 9 freezer meals here, plus those 2 bags of teriyaki chicken, so technically 11 freezer meals, and then 1 of these is for my sister-in-law. We prepped all of that food for the fridge, and it feels good to have all of this done to fill up the freezer with freezer meals and have a fridge that's organized and prepped with food. I hope that this video gave you inspiration and motivation for food prep, freezer meals, fridge and freezer cleaning and organization. Thank you each so much for watching, and I will see you next week with a new video.